My name is Joddie, and I'll be representing the Scratch team. And my classic poem is entitled Spanish Midterm by Angel Garcia. We gather in a park, 4 of us each with 40s in hand among the spray-painted tree trunks. Our voices strained against the nearby 710 freeway. Jacob and Romeo, home from deployment, recount stories of near death in the darkness, of another world I can only imagine. Jorge, a father in high school, tells us how last night, over the phone, his girlfriend told him he would be a father again, and wanted then to say to her that she had dialed the wrong number or hang up, because he says he may be too much of a coward to be twice a father at only 21. I have nothing to offer. Instead, I talk of days in high school when we ditched 5th period English and drove to Pedro with pounds of carne asada and 12 packs of coronas. Days when we knew little except the city in which we lived. As we drink more, drink again, I watch a dark hush begin to fill the 710. Fill the trees. Watch it crawl over countless cigarette butts. The tossed bottle of Cuervo. The failed Spanish midterm resting beside my foot. An exam some student dropped on purpose, I suppose because of the red apple top. Written with a carelessness I can remember clearly, because I, too, have failed. Today, here with old friends whose faces I barely recognize in the dim light of dusk, I am filled with the darkness. A desire, really. I suppose fills all 4 of us, to carelessly, effortlessly, as if it were that easy to abandon all our failures on the floor. And my response poem is entitled The Ugly Truth About Bananas. In 7th grade, I was split in one room, fused by the shortness of breath and stench of sweaty palms. There it was, the banana, bright and bold, dazzling in dominance, my science teacher held the dough fruit that would open my own pages to boyhood. My sex education was sponsored by a Disney tutorial on how to create an entire generation with whatever tool God gave us. That day, I may have butchered myself through the doors of my own sexuality. The truth is, I used to be the one that laughed, because maybe it was easier to be part of a crowd that was too busy to know what kind of closets were being built. As a freshman, I flooded my own dignity behind the bathroom stall. As a sophomore, I came out as a homosexual. That same summer, I waltzed into the realization that I wanted to be human. At school, I constantly remind myself that my name walks amongst the living, and when my pronouns are mispronounced, I remember the knot in my throat, announcing its arrival like church bells. This is a sign. And no, not your you pee here and they pee there sign. This year, I'm making the bed for queer folks like me. Unravel love like a pack of condoms. Weave respect between the fibers of tampons. I raised my hand, searching for the answer I found in the backseat of a car. Sometimes, I feel more human at the Planned Parenthood down the street. Maybe I'd feel more present if my love was not in vain. I live in a world where for some, education is a convenience store. And as for the non-discrimination policy, inclusive sex education considers dysmorphia undefined. Gay sex does not support the mission of schools, but Freddie Mercury is the mascot of tragedy? Our education carries an importance heavier than a bitter pill. And I wouldn't call it straight education, but there's also no way I fornicate the wrong way. Sometimes I'm afraid to see, to be seen, because I've been a cautionary tale for too long, but I've been thinking about the different ways to come out as human. And this time, I'll leave a trail of bananas out the door for you to follow, tracing back to 7th grade when we all wished for a little more. Thank you.